Welcome everybody. Man, I'm small. Better. How are you doing? Hi Marco. Welcome. Welcome everybody. It's Modular Monday, episode 11. So we're gonna do a sound check right off the bat. I recalled something that I had done that I thought was done, but wasn't quite done. So now it's quite done and it can be utilized to start. So let me see if you, yeah, you can hear all of this. Hold on, that my volume isn't that much. Let me double check that I'm doing things right, because I'm gonna show you. Today we are going to use, I know you know what this is all about. Let me put my glasses on. Today we are going to, thank you Marco for saying that it's all good. Because, you know, I see the values go up, the meters, but we never know. So today we're gonna take the effects and things we had in our previous sessions, and we're gonna make our first step into upgrading our spaceship. We're gonna go hardware effects. Okay, we're gonna go hardware effects. Now, as usual, VCV Rack has a plethora of modules. I come from DAWs and doing work with sample libraries and real synths and, you know, Nuendo, that kind of level of you know, mass. And I want to kind of get it the same way I do it in the DAW here on VCV Rack. So as usual, this is kind of the reason why you would watch these streams, because, you know, there are other streams where people are just demonstrating modules. There are other streams in which people are just, you know, droning out. We do a little bit of that, but we're kind of pushing towards making music with these. And it is about my story of going from composing with a DAW in parallel through actually going through VCV. So I'm going to show you what I've done, because I've done a little bit of work. I've actually done homework. Can you believe that? Which I absolutely love. I'm that kind of person. I used to love homework. No, not all the time, but I used to do it. So we're going to utilize kind of also a secondary concept we did cover with some of the people in here in previous episodes, which is polyphony. Okay, I don't think we touched on that, because what we did in the last episode when we uncovered those burial chambers was actually to design a duophonic mono combined instrument. So the oscillators, the sound generators, were actually all monophonic. It was the blend of it that would become duophonic. Was it duophonic? I think it was duophonic, right? So it was only two sounds at the same time, and they were coming randomized from two different sources. That is not really exploring polyphony at its most, okay? So, first and foremost, some of the changes I've done in the past episodes are these. The engine is always 48 kilohertz. We're running 4 threads out of the 8 CPUs, the 8 cores I have, and we have scaled these down to 36 hertz frame rate. Actually, does it have a 29? We're going 29 hertz. The reason for this is that I am streaming to you at 30 FPS, so, you know, it's actually not even going to rescale or miss frames or have intermediate, you know, intersample frames, whatever they're called, and they're gonna be 1-to-1. But also it frees a lot more resources than having it run at 72. So this is kind of a tweak that I want to give you right off the bat. The second thing is the F3. When we run F3 on VCV Rack, you see that at the bottom of the modules, like initially it doesn't look like you're doing anything, but at the bottom of the modules, you see that they're starting to build a graph of CPU usage, resource usage. And the higher that graph, the more the resources are necessary for that module, okay? So for example, the XFX tube stands quite out if you look at it. It's like, all right, you know, these guys, you know, it's doing its thing, because it's kind of having a 7.18% requirement on it, as to where other modules are running at about, you know, the mixers are about 6.8, the 3.4, the filters aren't that big of a deal. So F3 has kind of become my friend on all of this. And you already see that I've done a thing here that I was testing, and I'm gonna show you what is going on. Okay, it's not complicated, but it is nice. Okay, So my mix bus for the moment is exactly the same. We have our XFX tube, and we go from there to the chow tapes, and the chow tapes go to the mixer. Now you see that there's a mix 4 in here, and the reason for this is that I need to drop my level at minus 20 and minus 12, if I can say that. Let me go straight minus 12. Because this is the output that is going to the inputs that goes to my digital, okay? I am gonna tell you why this is a minus 12, because some people are gonna freak out on this. I am pushing these at plus 12, okay? Why am I doing plus 12 if I'm doing minus 12 here? Because I'm recovering this level, the left and right, which is actually the 15, 16 from my pedals. Now, at the moment, I couldn't find a way to differentiate inputs with outputs. If I go out 15, 16, I need to come back 15, 16. I'm sure there are other ways to do that. Doesn't matter. We're all good. We're going to do it this way, okay? So if we're doing this, and I'm going to find a different way for now, I have to offset these to minus 12 on the output to regain a plus 12 on the input, because my input is the 2-bus sum, okay? So why am I doing plus 12 on the 2-bus? Because I'm doing minus 12 on the pedals. Does it make sense now? And the pedals are right here. You see they run all at minus 12. Alberto, why do you run your pedals at minus 12? Well, the Strymons don't really have issues at running hotter line level signals, but the Avalanche Run isn't quite super happy when I feed it very loud things. They're crossing the 0 dBFS, you know? It's kind of more into like a guitar pedal, you know? And for this reason, I am dropping them down at minus 12. I've always done it that way. Drop it down to minus 12, and then I recover a plus 12. Actually, I usually go plus 18 or 24 on the 2-bus. The reason for it is that I'm running 0. Actually, a 0 is a minus 6 on the 2-bus. So you see how this is all gain staging, right? The 2-bus is getting all of the pedals, but runs at minus 6. So if I do minus 12, minus 6, it's minus 18. I usually go plus 24 so that I have a plus 9. Are we there yet? No, it's a 6. So that I have a plus 6, okay? I like a plus 6 on my retard. Now we're running minus 6, which isn't ideal. We're kind of having a little bit less of an effect, but there's ways around this, and I'm not, overly worried. It's probably just gonna take my send levels and push them higher on the knobs that I would actually normally have, okay? So I have saved us all together, along with Marco on the bridge, a lot of resources, because my Strymons, my Avalanche Run, and my Black Hole are running there. Do you trust that I have these things? Do we want to see this? All right, let's do it. So I'm gonna move around, and I'm gonna move the camera that is set on the Fatsos, which we might use or not. Well, actually, probably it's gonna be kind of hard to do it with the same routing, because that 1112 that you see there, that Fatso, is actually going to the 1-2 retard. And on the 1112, I have synthesizers. So, we might be able to. But let's move these around, and let's get us kind of a bird's eye view of the pedals, okay? Right here. You know what? We should stay like this. Because we're these kind of people. So as you can see in the camera here, there's a timeline, there's a big sky, there's a Volante, there's an Avalanche Run, and there's a Black Hole. Now, the Avalanche Run does not have presets, but the Black Hole, the others do, okay? And I usually have different sounds for different vibes of colors that I like to experiment with. But on the preset 0, I save what is currently going on for my soundtrack scoring, okay? Sketches, commissions, attempts at, landing a better gig, video game developers' questions and stuff. This is usually kind of a 1 year thing. Like, those things do not move for like an year straight, or they move, but their recalls are right on preset 0. And I have pictures on my hard drive of the top of the pedals just to remember or remind myself to kind of get it right. Because sometimes you have the knobs being displaced and the preset gets recalled some pedals and then override the position. Others, they jump on, pedals they're all different, okay? So we have that going on for us, which is nice. And now we're going to just, because of those pedals, I don't really even need these plateau here, which, if you remember, however, we've used for drums. And that little thing of a plateau right there, which we absolutely love, we gotta be honest with that. It was absolutely fantastic. I'm thinking that I might very well get a module like that for dedicated reverbs on Modular, because it's just a beautiful reverb. If this sounded so nice, imagine the hardware. So, but it is a 4.4%, okay? So I imagine that if I do bypass, you see how the F3 is telling us this guy has been removed, okay, from CPU usage. Now we've got the overdrives and the grunge on the drums. That one I am not changing because they kind of sounded fine. So as you remember here, we've got our kick, then we've got an LFO that is tracking what? This guy right here? All right, let's do that guy right here, okay, which is our snare. Then we've got our percussion. They got moved around a little bit. I don't think there's other modules involved. Our ecosystem is here. So there's this other clock that I am kind of borrowing from. And as you can see right here, I have my 2 pedals clock sync, okay? So I'm getting my clock from the SQ64, and it's being sent to MIDI 16 of my ESI interface. 16 is my pedals, and they're all daisy chained one to the other, okay? At least those who have MIDI, which have MIDI. So they will sync to tempo with the SQ64, which is important because if they don't, we're gonna be off for the delays, okay? The only one that isn't synced is the Avalanche run, which is running a very weird reverse delay. I do not worry about that because it's kind of like very subtle into the like a reverse delay. Did I say reverb? What? A reverse delay running into a reverb. Okay, so I'm not worried about that because it's kind of a texture, and because we have 4 auxes, I'm not using the Avalanche run as of now because it is a beautiful thing, but I tend to use it on orchestral stuff. So right here I've devised our MIDI CV. So this is the ecosystem. Everything's kind of flat and dry at the moment, but we can run things right here. We have our drums, and we have our faders here, red, yellow, blue, and purple. These are Timeline, Big Sky, Volante, and Black Hole. So the Avalanche run's being skipped. Otherwise, it would be 5. Okay. So here we go. We've got polyphony finally to explore. So our MIDI CV is my base station, which is right here. Should I move the camera again? Should I? Maybe. I will do it. Then we've got a Viz. I'm going to tell you what Viz is. Then we've got a VCO that is taking that sawtooth, getting pitch from our beautiful wave base station. And then we've got signal again right here. That's good. It's a cyan. Going into a filter. The filter is going out to our VCA. The VCA is going out to a sum. So I'm going to explain in a second. I think you all know what that does. And it's going to this little mixer right here. Now, I know, we could save cycles and go right here, We should probably not overdo stuff this much. We should actually do that. But because I want to design a synth that I still don't really know where it's going to go to, I kind of prefer to have this, okay? In fact, I'm not going to be shy. I'm going to go, here. What did I do? Here, I'm going to do polysynth, And you can actually put this as well here, and set polysynth. And you can also duplicate these and put it here, These two that you see are the retards for the effects. In fact, if you notice the meters, they're not flat. You see how it's kind of like giving you the little bit of a thing at minus what, 87, 96? This is the pedals. That's what they're doing. Like there's a little bit of noise in here, right? But our 9, which is gonna be hard. This is drums, and that's tubas. Oh, this is DR and tubas. You know, we can do it like that. Look at that. I love this. Look at the label, how misplaced that is. So our bass station is being used now as a MIDI controller. Okay, I'm gonna play a note. And you hear that it's going up. But if you notice, the VCA is doing 4 LED meters. Look at that. You see that? This is because if I play 4 notes, this is 3, but you see how they're moving? Let's try 4. They're being picked at not at random, they're being reused in cycles. So this is as simple as that. Now you say, how did you do polyphony on VCV Rack? This is where VCV Rack truly, as we discussed in previous episodes, destroys the other modulars. Like the softwares, they cannot take what VCV can do. You just right click on your source MIDI module and you tell it, look, I don't want it monophonic. I want to have 4 voices. Simple as that. In fact, I duplicated a viz that is telling you how many voices I'm using. And you see the numbers there. Actually, I could do it probably on gate as well. Does it work on gate? Right. So on gate, it's even better because it just lights up to green, fixed voltage. It tells you how many voices you're using from that single gate. With this VCO, and the question that I had when I tried this is like, okay, how do I set the VCO to work in polyphonic? You don't. If it gets fed a polyphonic cable from a module that is polyphonic, it will become polyphonic. Not all modules can do that, but most can actually, okay? And the VCF, same deal. And the VCA, same deal. In fact, as you notice, it's split, right? You see how they're all 4 note chords, and they go VCA. Then I sum this, and because the level is kind of increasing, we've got 4 times the VCOs going into the filter, so on and so forth. We are getting 4 channels summed into a mono, which is right there. Okay, so we could send the retards right here. We could do that and say, like, I want to decide the reverbs and delays specifically on this mixer. Could be nice. We could do that, so that then something else on the drums get a different treatment, for example. But usually I don't do that. Like yes, I don't do it for buses, but I can do it here. So imagine we bring up our, timeline all the way up. Okay, let's try this. So I'm gonna do just 2 notes. You hear it? It's right there. Right? It's kind of low. So you know what? I'm gonna err on the not on the side of caution. I'm gonna go 0. And it's creating this effect. Let's try the timeline. The big sky, sorry. Let me mix that to 100%. Just to kind of make sure that we have it, but I think it's like just how the patch is made. I'm cutting so much from the timeline. Oh, actually, no. Okay, so the mix needs to be at 100%. Is that the saving? Let me double check these. Let's go check this. Is this where it is? Right. Okay. So it turns green when I'm actually on the full mix. So that should be where it is. You hear it? But I still want to get minus 12. Because we're probably crunching it. And that's the sum of those, obviously, that is very high. You see the sum, how much level it gets there? We can even go lower. There we go. Right, let's try the volante. These are the effects as I have them on pretty much all the songs I write lately. Let's make the attack a little bit faster. Hear how much depth the pedals add? So we have that, and it works. And now it's just a matter of saying, okay, do we want to replace these? Yes, absolutely yes. They're all synced, they're all working, our ecosystem is working. If I replace my VCOs and the filters, we're gonna have different things. This sounds pretty good. I like the VCOs and VACFs and VCV rack, but I had seen a module here. Let me double check that. Let me go here. I had seen a module here in the VCV that was just like, it was up here. Jobo C, Gemini. Are we gonna use Gemini? There's also fart synths on. You don't have to spend a fortune on hardware modules if you just want to produce this kind of sound. Well, I understand probably what kind of sound that is. Let's try Gemini. Let me see if this is getting updated. Gemini. It's a Juno inspired oscillator. Okay, do we have it? No. Okay, so I need to save, close, restart, and go. Right here. Okay, now we have Gemini. Okay, Castor and Pollux. Awesome. I'm gonna move these away, and I'm gonna take, okay, where's the duty input? I think it's pitch input here. And then we have duty input, pitch, Pollux output, mix output, Castor. Okay, so it is Castor is this left side. Okay, I get it. Oh, see, there's two pitch inputs. This is nice. Let's do these first so that we are sending to both of them, but then we're gonna actually go split. We're gonna do a split and then a merge. Then we get or maybe we don't need to merge because we have a mix output. So let me get the input here, and then nothing's playing. That's very nice. Okay, why do we see ramp? Because nothing's playing right here. So this is Pollux pitch, Castor duty. Let's see if we get this to go. We have no ramps, maybe? Right, okay. So the levels of the oscillators are here. We got ramp, we got pulse, we got sub, we got sub, we got pulse, we got ramp. Okay, so what if we mix these two? It sounds good, huh? Nice, okay. What if we ramp it? Okay, I'm gonna make like whatever. I didn't quite play these, but it's doing that. That's kind of nice. I love that we're not getting the clock from these one, but that's quite cool. Right, I'm using the... You like sounds like this, kind of simple but effective. Yeah, Marco says, I like sounds like these, they're really simple but effective. Absolutely. Like if you drench them down into reverbs and things, they create so much space because of their modulation. I also do use a lot of them. Let's do something like... Let's go play it though. It is repeating, which is not what the bass station's actually doing. Let me try and see if the tempo works here. See, it is not syncing itself because the bass station is not getting a clock input. So I want to see if I get it clock input, if it's going to work. So we need to go CC me. We need to go, hold on. We need to go MIDI, the opposite of this. CV into MIDI, right? So that's the input to the bass station. So we go bass station and we take this clock and we go maybe ×2. Let me go ×1 first and we take clock input. And can you believe I see that thing there and it's the same as what I have here? Let me see. So now it's going faster, it's 240. Then I'm gonna clock it. Is it working? Yo. It isn't getting its clock. It isn't. So I probably would need to go by hand. Why isn't clock being read on the bass station? It should. It should read it. But it doesn't. Okay, so we're gonna sync it anyway. So let me try that. Let's do. And it's also repeating, so. I have no idea why it's repeating itself. Oh, because it's doing 4 of these. Okay, now I'm starting to see how the arpeggiators are going into the C. You see how it's not it's losing one cycle into it? This is because number 1, the clocks aren't synced, but number 2, the gates are being sent differently. You see how they're opening up here, but they're not actually opening up here. Let me see if we do, is it a matter of we're not getting retriggers. So we need to do this. You ready? Because this is gonna really work now. We retrigger from here, okay? So now we're not enslaved to the gates being sent at a speed that doesn't retrigger on the ADSR. So let's do the same here. We're retriggering each time a note comes. That's the thing I didn't have. So we go 1 octave, we go play. This should work now. Let's see. It isn't clock. I don't even want it to clock. But okay. It's going. No, I think the bass station is sending gates at a different... Okay, let's try the key step. Yes, I'm kind of curious. Let's do the key step. Getting... Well, this is going to get the clock. I know that it is. Come on. Okay. Let's try that. This should work. Man, these oscillator sounds unbelievable. Okay, see how that is doing that? Let's go ARP. Let's go hold. Let's do... I completely forgot what I wanted to play. But this should... But it's not getting the rate, right? Is it? No. Not even? We're doomed. We're doomed. Why is this not sending the gates the way I want? As usual, we go through experimenting here. Alright? We're back here. We're back here. If I do it without arpeggiator, it does work though. Oh no, it is retriggering the wrong... It is retriggering 4 voices at the same time. You know what I think we have to do? We actually have to do this. We have... Okay. I think what's going on is that I need a merge. Could it be that? It could be. We take the gates and we have just a single gate do that. Let's try it. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe no, actually a split maybe. Do we need to split the gates? Let's try it. Let's try this. I know this is working because it's sending that gate information right there. I want great. Absolutely. And then I want this split. We're going to go here. The gate is sent fine though. I can see that. It's being... Oh, maybe. Let me see that. Maybe it is rotate. Let's try reset as a mode. Now we're getting here. And this is fine. We do not have the output of this. We're not sending it pitch CV. We are, but we're not getting out. Okay, so I want to retrigger from a mono. I'm curious as to how this will work. Okay, and the gates need to be from the gate. Okay, retrigger here and mono here. No, this is not working. You hear what it does? Nice. Okay, no, we don't want this. We want our gates to... This should be so simple though. Gates, retriggers. Retriggers. This should work. What? We had it. We had these. Why wouldn't it work though? No, maybe I did something different, but now it does work. Okay. Are we getting that mix? Okay, mode switch. Crossfade, okay. Do we have a level here? Okay, so this is doing it. That's a crossfade. That's a duty. Okay, let's try this. Man, it sounds nice, huh? We could even split the 2 oscillators with 2 filters. Okay. I want the sauce, though. Gotta be honest with you. Man, this is nice. I have no idea why that didn't work though. Let me do a modulation wheel on the cutoff as well. But let me rescale this. Let me rescale it. So mod wheel, output here, gain, little bit. I like this a lot. So there's a crossfade, which is it even has an internal LFO. Nice. This. Let me rescale also the attack with the mod wheel, the decay and sustains of these, because I like to do that. Okay, now it works. Why wouldn't it work before? I think the modules were bugged or something. I mean, even on arpeggio, like... This is really good. I mean, just one thing, come on. Hey James, popping in to say hi, sounding nice with the slower clock. It does, right? 96, 92, 78, 74, 72. It does. Now, I'm thinking this will also clock. For some reason it didn't. There's no... It doesn't. Oh, it's key step. Hold on. Did I hear it change? No. It should clock itself, though. Maybe because it's from here, we need to send it like straight here. Yes, okay. So now it's syncing. Now the SQ64 is syncing to it, and they're going together. So if I send a start, it won't be, because the base station 2 does not take start and stop. But the key step would. I don't understand why it didn't quite work. Because it wasn't in. It was in rotate. I think it needs to be on reset. It needs to reset at each. It needs to reset at each note change. That's why it didn't work. So these oscillator, as we were saying, it's kind of a Juno thing that they wanted to do, and I'm kind of like where it stands. There's a mode switch. Okay. I don't know what that is. Is that the chorus? Can you imagine that? So let's try and open the... Let's do... I want to do another arpeggio, like kind of... I like these filters a lot. But again, this is the obviously pitched. We're only hearing the caster version, which is a ramp. Okay, that's good. And then we have, okay, then we have pulse, which is gone. This area here kind of has a Juno vibe, in fact, kind of. I mean, hear the square. Oh well, yeah. Okay, now how about two of them? Because we got a mix here, so we can crossfade them. Hear how typical roll-on ballsy lower stuff comes out of here. Man. Nice. I like how it's kind of, obviously it's off pitch, the two of them, but it's not keeping it all the time, which is probably the part of the sexiness of. I mean, it is precise, but it's got that, it doesn't always clash the same, and there's no LFO going on, so. Man, I like this. Okay, so how about we do, I want to do kind of like a different, there was one that I wanted to use, like maybe bleak. We haven't used bleak, you know, maybe our first times or something we did. I don't want to use this one. So let me use just the first oscillator. Like, we're going to go mix anyway, but I want to try and split these things. I want to try and get, we've got two oscillators. I'm going to go split, taking a poly channel and go 1/8 here on. So we're going poly here, we're going here, and we're also going here. Same output, and then we go here for bleak, and we get out. Probably we need a mixer. What mixer are we gonna use? Man, we got so many. I think I'm gonna use the VCA mix here, the normal one, right here. So our caster and pollux. Actually, no, I'm not gonna use a mix. I'm gonna use a merge. Let's go deep diving into all these. Merge out of here. So that's a poly, right? That is coming out. Perfect. So this input is going to be the poly, and then this is going to be our mix, and the whatever channel 2 is going to be our main output here. So our two oscillators are going to get split in polyphony and then are coming back in terms of polyphony, which I like that. And I like that a lot. Let's try that. That's VCO oct. I'm kind of rechanging. I don't want to use gray too much. So if we go now, we go rotate. You see how the first two channels are going right here because we've got 4 notes of polyphony out of 2 that are routed. So I'm gonna go 2. Right? So 3 voices out of these 2 that are getting there. If we want to reuse a third one, for example, rotate, we could use a random split to have it there. So they're now they're not always played together. You see, number 1 is Castor and Pollux, Bleak is 2. They get merged again, and then they get rescaled in there, which I like, but I maybe want to do something weird. I mean, I don't probably want to do that much. Let me go macro as well, which we've used to oblivion. I don't want to split. I want to try these 3, and I want to resum them. You know what? Before we go here. So these are all poly that are going to go out here. We're not going to split. We're going to go, I'm thinking, hold on. We're going to go A input. We're also going to go V octave. We're also going to go V octave. So we're sending pitch to all 3 of them. And we're going to go mix into the sum. Okay, maybe we need a merge after all. Let's try that. Here, here, and here. And we go poly here. And the output of sum goes into our input of the VCF. Right. And now obviously nothing is playing. Why is that? Maybe it was better before? They're rescaling. Okay, yes. Because we're sending 3 voices into them that are then getting resummed. Yes, it is not going to work. So we're going to do this without the merge. I love these things. Let's try and not merge it. And these 2 oscillators, simple as that. We're not going to split. We're going to go V oct here, V oct here, V oct here, V oct here. And we're going to go out into the inputs right here. Out, out, out. I could use a mixer. I'm not going to. Right. Okay. These I like better. Let's go low. And let's go. I love these. So now it's 3 oscillators, but the sources of them are coming from completely different synthesizers. And you know what I would do? I would take Bleak and I would not have it track, or actually Castor. Let me see who's who. Let me do this. We take a mixer, this one, and let's mix these here. All right, so actually they're all wrong. Let me do it in order. So number 1, number 2, and number 3. And then the output, the mix, goes finally into the filter itself. So now we're mixing them in audio. Very dirty, says Marco. Nice, yeah, it's got that. I usually add a little bit of noise as well. But let's try and go 3 notes. And let me try, what are we doing? Rotate? Let's try reuse. Okay, so now I'm gonna mute these. You hear how this is not tracking? I love that. Okay, let's try this. This is why it sounds so, which we noticed from what we were sending it pitches. Okay? Seesaw sounds like this. And VCA mix. Because Bleak is probably not a polyphonic sound. Yeah, module, okay? So it's getting the mono, out of the poly cable, and it's doing that while the other two are kind of like not freaking out, but almost, right? Let me try and trigger it as well. Seesaw. But if we go maybe 4, reuse, this is so good. Reset works here. But I really loved how that was working on rotate. This is nice. We're gonna use this. We found it. Now I have inspiration on this. Then I'm gonna go pre-fader for the synth. $71? What about that? Could be good. We're gonna delay this a little bit more, okay? See why it would be nice now to have the 3 sounds kind of split and affected on the pedals differently? Okay, we're gonna keep this, but I don't want caster to track probably at all. I don't want it to track. Let's do this. Okay, it could be nice, but I don't want it to track. So I'm gonna just put a quantizer instead of having it not track at all. I'm gonna go here. See, now it's a single note, right? And then I'm gonna go here. So we could have it do a perfect fifth, for example. But it's doing what? Is it doing octaves? Yes. So if we break it, if we just break it, or we rescale it, hold on. I'm gonna rescale it. Haha. I love modular synth. Man, these things. See, if I go gain 0, now we're stable right there, right? Or at least I hope so. It is. What if we gain it, but we've got a quantizer, so there's no way we're missing. See, we're only allowed to do octaves, you see? We're deciding the C, and we're just moving out of there. So now with Seesaw, doing this, do we want to try different oscillators? But I kind of like this. Yeah, it doesn't have the sound. The sound I had before was kind of gnarly. It has such a roll-on vibe, though. Can you believe that caster and is it just me? Like, it's really giving it us a roll-on sound, no matter what the macro and bleak are doing, which is not roll-on by itself. Man. Okay. Let's do a delay thing here. Even if I know we already have one. Well, let me go like left. right, left. Where's the output set? Left, right. Okay. Top level. Okay. We go here. Let me just hear how that sounds. Let's clock it through, you know, we could just send it clock from here. But I'm actually gonna do this. This one will work. I'm gonna BPM it from here. No, from here. And I'm gonna send clock 1, clock 2 here. Clock 2 is gonna have a 2 times. Okay, let me try and find a setting. Okay, perhaps an oscillator with a higher pitch and a lot of resonance would also be suitable. Yeah, let's try that. Let's get. You know who would completely sound like off the hook here? Weird Instro. Let's see. Let me check also how we're doing on CPU. Let's put an Instro in, because it's number 4, okay? So we've got the Sigma output. That's number 4. Blue. 1 V oct. 1 V oct. I want blue. Come on. Blue. Let's hear how this is doing. So we pitch it up. We could probably use another quantizer since this is gonna be the weird kind of oscillator. We don't know. And we try and go, okay, this is already kind of nice. So this one is here, so this is coursing. Okay, and now we send it. I would send it the output of maybe we send it seesaw. I know it's different, but it's weird and it's kind of nice. So let's get a reference pitch. I have no idea if this is gonna work. Probably not. You know where this should go though? Not here. It should go right here. Yeah, not like that. With the modules. Hold the volumes up. I always scare you at these sometime during the stream. Let's try it here. It's not going to a filter. It should really need to go to a different. Let's try this. We're building. I want to do a dual filter because everything's gonna kind of now float on these guys. So we're also gonna take our cut from why not from our envelope here. We're gonna go amp. We're gonna go amp. We're also gonna get a little bit of resonance from this. Actually, this one is from here, because that's filter envelope. Okay. And then we go out to another mixer. So we're gonna send it down here. That's the best. That's why I put a mixer, and that's why I like it. Okay, here. 1, 2. And we're gonna send the HPF to 3. Okay? Marco's laughing. I know. 3. Right, okay? This is so loud just because of where it is. So right. It's amazing how this is not working on it. Let me see if I get a step like a roll. No, it's try and arpeggiate these. Just think, get a weird, just a simple arp. It's probably not 100% gonna work. Let me just try and duplicate the gate. Could we kind of get a double? Let me think about it. Kind of get a double gate on this. So first, let me do also this. I only send the HPF to the. Right. Obviously, the more we send that, the more it's gonna skew the other way. It's not like entirely silent key. Okay. Let me do this. Second, here, 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 here. Right. Oh, did I mix them up? Yes. Here. And we go 2 times. Go actually 4 times here. Here. Clock. Okay. Clock. But this becomes 4 times, or 3 actually. Let me do 2 5. Okay, let me bring these up. Now we have control over the filter again. Now it has a Nordic touch. Can't describe it in any way. I like it. Is Nordic touch kinda feels nice. I'm trying to carb it more, but this thing does not want to be. We need to filter these again, I think. What do we try? Do we try like kind of nitros? Let's try nitros. Okay, so we're building kind of a synth from a synth, obviously. But instead of going here, we go to the input. This guy goes here. So we have control over it. I hope it works. I hope it does, but it's not meant to work. So number 3 is going here. Number 2 is coming here. Number 3, okay, so this is in pre and this is nice, but I want it to be cut completely. Why doesn't it want to behave though? Maybe we need to go even higher. 3. What have I done that? Oh, because I've sent the nitros. No. Okay, I found the mistake. I want to send the HPF to the filter straight up. Okay. Nice. I found the mistake. See, it's easy because I'm going very fast and I'm not thinking too much, which is bad. Then we're gonna send it to the delay, and the reverb is coming back straight on 3. No insert, no sandwich hard, just... Okay, now... Right? Hear how it's opening? We're gonna go 1024. But it's 2 different settings. I think I want an LFO now. Just to keep these 2 filters here moving a little bit. So I'm gonna go sine, triangle. Let me actually go saw for this and let me clock it. Man, it's getting interesting. Let's clock these to 1, okay? Number 1 clock. Make it very slow. Okay, now we're starting to talk. What about getting rid of the tube here? It doesn't like to work when you bypass it. This one doesn't have that. So I'm gonna try and get these modules out. Let's see if, because it's really taking away a lot for us. It's probably one of the things that is taking the most. That's why I want to also build a mix bus out of hardware here, because the CPU is getting destroyed. Although we are doing intensive stuff, yes, I understand. Let me try and see how this is gonna work. Let me save it the way it is. Then let me take these out and let's go output here. It isn't helping, of course. It isn't. But we also got all of these drums going out. Okay? So if it hasn't helped, we're getting it back because it sounds good. So I'm saving. I'm going 1024, which I can't say. Okay. And we're going to load it again. Maybe it's not the CPU. Who knows? Well, maybe it is. Is it possibly gonna be the CPU? Nah. No way. 71% maximum. Well, it might be the CPU. But this is so good. Now I'm kind of liking that. Let me see. This stops playing. Maybe it's the reset of the... Okay, maybe it's playable now. Worse. Let me try this. It could be instrumental, that is. Okay, we have to optimize these, but this is sounding so good now. I don't have a lot of control over the pitches, but getting there. I'm tweaking it. This sounds beautiful. Like if you're, like you can't see me play these. If you were next to me, you see how the notes rotate. There we go. There we go. All right, we got the drums. You know we do. You know we're those kind of people. We got them. We're bringing them in. Bringing them in. Okay, let me try and I'm kind of like. Okay, lower. Because the drums don't go to the effect to the plates we had before, remember? So we gotta play it smart. We gotta send the drums to a lot of stuff. There we go. That's the big sky calling it in. I don't want the volante here. I want maybe the timeline. And we have it, like, out of nothing, we're calling it now. It sounds like a world has just opened. Okay, now we gotta tune that. We gotta tune our kick here. No, it's not that one. I can keep doing that all day long. It's this one. A lot closer. Less of these. Here I can open the kick a little bit. This one, the first one was good. Northern Hemispheres. That's good. That's a good name. We're gonna do that. As soon as I have kind of the sounds now, we're gonna track the real thing. Okay, I have to remember these as well. Okay, let me do a map of these. This is dangerous. It's unstable. So it's -6. Let's do -30. Oh, I need to do it like this? No, please. Here, I want to get a Hitman 47 kind of vibe. Jasper, I apologize. Okay, I need to be very careful about what I touch, as usual. Let's map this. Okay, so we kind of have it. We don't have much time, but I want to get these right. Now, the problem is it, what is it making click? Why is it clicking, you think? I think it could be fast releases, but it doesn't quite, oh no, please no. It doesn't quite sound like it's that. Or maybe it was. Wait, no. Yo, we did it. Hey, Mars. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat. Woo! We did it. Like, out of completely nothing, we got Northern Hemisphere. Marco came up with a name. We're gonna call it MM11 Northern Hemisphere. Nice. Welcome, Mars. Hope you joined while I was kind of grooving things around. What we did today was... Let me mute things as usual. Grazie, Marco. Thank you very much. You know, like the Hanna-Barbera kind of Bugs Bunny thing. Yeah. Oh, it was fun. You joined there. So we came up with these vibe. We redesigned things around. And if you weren't here from the beginning, I kind of devised a mock-up version of what will be definitive. Next week, I'll have it down. I am getting rid of all of the effects stuff, like the reverbs and delays, except for some structural one that we did with the Sarge XT, which I hope it's not too bad. It's kind of like a 1%, 2% module. So I'm kind of keeping it. The mixers are doing a lot of pull. So I'm going to try and get the mixers to be lower CPU usage. But all you heard was dry VCV rack going through my timeline, Big Sky, Volante, Avalanche Run, which is disabled for now, and a black hole. Okay, so all of the effects and the things are my pedals the way they're set them. And we are going out to the audio card in -12, but then I'm coming back from the same inputs because so far I'm having them matched. I want to split them because I'm using them split. So 15, 16 out doesn't really get something from the in, okay? So, you know, in VCV, I'll find ways. Promise I'll find ways. So we're getting all of the effects from the hardware. We're still getting the tube from XFX Tube and Chow Tape, which I gotta be honest with you, they're fantastic. They're like, they sound, the way I've tuned these two things are on par with kind of like the vibe that I want to have. But the problem is that we're getting, you know, while sound's passing through it, these are quite heavy. Not Chow, but like the XFX Tube's too heavy. So I have the gear. I want to go out on the hardware, for example, Fatso, things we've set up to get a vibe for a mix bus. And just like my software mix bus doesn't change a lot in one ear, sometimes it gets a different piece that I try in plugins. The same happens for hardware. Once I've set it up, you know, that's the deal. So Mars says, was it mostly sampled and whole on a dual ARP? So once we fixed the effects, what we did was I wanted to delve into polyphony, which I've been playing with for the past week or so. And I designed something with normal oscillators. And then we brought in Castor and Pollux because I saw it passing by on the library. And I saw like Juno inspired thing. And we did that. And we brought it then to be a 4 oscillator. Marco said, like, why don't you kind of add like a higher pitch FM kind of... Well, he didn't mention FM. I'm just blaming it on him. Because FM be kind of naughty, you know? So it's like, you know, it's like high pitch resonant thing. So, and I wanted to bring Instru so badly into it. So we have 4 oscillators. Some of them we're getting requantized. Castor and Pollux were not being tracked. They were doing the root note, like a C, and Seesaw was getting, like macro oscillator, Brides was getting a 2/4. So it was only able to track 2 notes out of 4. So it would mostly end up being root and fifth or root and upper octaves. And Bleak instead, because it's a mono module, as far as I understand, it's not compatible with the Poly, was actually getting all the pitches right. All the tracking was done right because it was on reset, you know? So Bleak is doing the higher, busier parts. Like the arpeggio you hear is actually Bleak 100% from the bass station too, being routed into this, as you see the MIDI CV. But Castor was not tracking, was doing like what I like to do on Oscillator 3 on a Minimoog, was doing a stable pitch, reinforcing their root note. And Seesaw was doing kind of a bass pedal. And then Bleak was doing it right, but an Instro went up to left and right, two filters, like a stereo filter set a little bit differently. And they are being sent, the LPF is going to channel 2 of the mixer. This here is the polysynth mixer. And the polysynth is getting, so its first channel is getting some delay, but the second part, the LPF, is they're all serial, okay? So the LPF is going to channel 2 of that console, and it's not getting effects, and it's kind of a very resonant, kind of higher pitch closed filter. But then the HPF is going to nitros. And these two nitros that are in series, but they're getting the HPF of the filter from VCV, are then going straight in series into a delay that I'm using at 75%, and I'm also like carbing the EQ. You see how it's not lows and highs? So this is Instro being high pitched and kind of floating, has through the HPF that are refiltered and delay kind of like a secondary dust. It's the snow, it's the northern hemisphere probably. And this happens because it's run on clock 3. So the third delay is getting a faster clock, the second delay for part 2 is getting a smaller, and then there's feedback breeding that into it. And that part, if you rewatch the video, kind of happened like I was experimenting with things and I wanted to kind of get it there. And at one point, it just opened up, which is like how it has to happen. Like it spoke to me rather than me programming it. It just opened up. So because I have the drums ready on the SQ64, they're down here and they have been re-optimized. They've got some overdrive and grunge that is still it's kind of heavy, 8.4, 7.7. I think I'm gonna replace these as well. Although, man, they're the ticket. Then there's that compressor handling that, but there's no longer any reverb on plates, on what was it, like planes, right? So because of that, I'm using pedals, but because I'm sending these pedals I'm kind of syncing the drums in, and then with the Nano Control Studio, I'm closing the filters, I'm deciding on the levels of the kick 2, snare, and hi-hat. I'm deciding on the bandpass, the diode kind of filters, the silent keys, and the levels of the synth versus that. And we also got, probably maybe you hear already, we got the kick 2 to kind of track higher, and then I kind of got it to move its pitch around here. What was it? This one. And it became at a point, kind of like an ethnic percussion into this electronic thing that didn't stay there. I think it's because of the morph or the timbre. I don't really know why that was repitching itself. It could be the crossfeed of whatever. And there's that part as well, because kick 2 for me, sometimes it's low percussion, sometimes it gets higher percussion, but it's kick 2. So then I mapped it, I played it. I didn't even change patterns on the SQ64. I just dialed in the triggers and then removed them. And it's a scene. This is a scene already. This is a sketch you can send on, 30 seconds to a game dev and just see like, does it work? These underneath could be your intro to the game or a section of the game. Could be where maybe the news are saying like, I don't know, like, whatever, like fights are keeping on going in the northern hemisphere. We go live, and there's this vibe going in. You don't need a lot of movement to do all those sketches. And oftentimes, what I've learned when I was younger is like, it's too much. So this is already doing a lot through nothing. That's beautiful. And it just came to us this way. Glad you were here, so you kind of saw it happen. Then I was like fully afraid of tweaking things. Kind of these knobs get hot, when you kind of don't want to screw it up. Beautiful. So this patch is gonna be available on Patreon. The music as well is gonna be available on Modular Monday's Bandcamp. Don't forget to check that out because it's free. You can just get the album. I update it every week. And if you want to donate something, you can, but you can listen to all of it. And it's getting populated every week with different episodes. And it's already about what? Again, like 11, maybe more. It's actually about close to 18 tracks, because sometimes we have the longer version and the shorter version. So this was it, people. Modular Mondays, episode 11. It says that on the name. We went through effects on hardware, we went through polyphony, and we designed a 4-oscillator synthesizer through amazing stuff. The Seesaw, Castor and Pollux new that I just saw and tried. Bleak, man, that thing is just so juicy. And then Instro, which takes a lot of CPU cycles, but man, that thing. The FM capabilities and how it just blends itself to left and right and things. Oh, it's just fantastic. So, if you want to support the channel, check out what I do on Patreon. I won't harass you. I will leave you to the Monday evening. We're going to keep doing this. See you next Monday. It was amazing. Remember, we're here. We're building music and worlds for video games that do not exist yet. If you're a game developer, get in touch. I'd love to give you this music. I will just leave it here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Mars. Thank you, Marco. And again, it just so happened. You know, we just crossed the cliff, and on the horizon, here it was, that northern hemisphere of a beautiful, H-class planet. Wow. Can you imagine that? Fantastic. Ciao.